Sun Devils basketball is back after landing five-star Jayden Quaintance.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Wherever you get your podcast, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Stay in touch with the content by following me on Twitter at RichieBrats36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got some breaking news for you. And today will end up being a 2-episode day. There will be a podcast later on in the afternoon that will be talking about the spring game, because I was not able to get to that over the weekend because I got sick. So we'll be talking about Friday's spring game. But until we get that far, we got to talk about Sun Devils basketball, because they just landed what is currently the highest rated recruit in the history of the program with five-star center Jayden Quaintance. Now, the Quaintance situation really got interesting over the last few days. It wasn't even a week. Like, we heard that Quaintance was going to be taking a visit to Arizona State over the weekend, and it felt like it kind of came out of the blue. Now, Quaintance had originally committed to Kentucky, but then was released from his letter of intent after their head coach, John Calipari, left. So instead of following him to Arkansas, he just reopens his recruitment and kind of shops around, and he ends up coming to Arizona State. And he gets here, and we're all kind of like, what is he doing here? Like, we're not used to this. We're like, what is a five-star coming to Arizona State for? It's not something we're used to. The last that we had that was a five-star was Josh Christoper back in 2020. Other than that, we've had some really good four-star guys, but this was only the second ever five-star that we felt we had a really strong chance for. And lo and behold, he takes the weekend, and come Monday morning, about 30 minutes ago, he commits. He commits to Arizona State. And this does so many different things for you. And it's something that I can't condense into one episode. It's going to be something that we talk about in more detail tomorrow. This specific episode is just kind of my overall reaction. I like to give you guys those raw reactions, and you guys seem to like those too. So, raw reaction, OMG. I can't believe this just happened. He is a center, the number 2 center in the country, the number 1 player in the state of North Carolina, and the number 8 overall recruit in the entire country, regardless of position. This all comes from 24/7, which is my go-to. I love Rivals and all them. I just prefer 24/7, and it's crazy. And now you look at what it's done for the recruiting class. ASU has shot up to the number 6 composite rank, the 14th overall rank, and the transfer, for what it's worth, is 45. But I mean, they've brought in a couple big name transfers through the portal, but Quaintance has really put an exclamation point on what is looking like one of the best recruiting classes that Bobby Hurley has assembled in his time in the desert. Because Quaintance, the 5-star, is joining 2 more 4-stars with Amir Ali and Sammy Yane. And then Bo Aldridge is a high 3-star, and Jaden Smith is another 3-star. These are all big bodies too. Quaintance is 6'9". Amir Ali is 6'8". Yane is 6'8". Aldridge is 6'4". Jaden Smith is 6'11". Now, Quaintance is coming in as a center. I don't know if he will stay a center or if Arizona State will play him as more of a power forward for the team. But, I mean, this is a big kid. 6'9", 230. And I got to look at highlights. I haven't looked in detail. I just looked at highlights. So take it with a grain of salt. He gets up there. He is not afraid to go up and get those rebounds, which is something that Arizona State has lacked over the last few years, is somebody that can consistently win off the glass and be able to pull down the second chance, the third chance opportunities offensively, and then be able to just get stops defensively. Having a body like Quaintance is just going to be so important for you. And from my understanding, what I saw, and I would tell you guys to double check me on this. I saw this from Devil's Digest, so Hode Rubino put this out. He reclassified to this class because this is a 16-year-old kid, by the way, 16 years old. And he was able to reclassify for this year, which means that he will not be NBA draft eligible until 2026. So we should have him for 2 seasons, provided he doesn't transfer, which that's always a possibility, especially in today's landscape of college sports. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Right now, as long as I'm understanding that correctly, we have Quaintance for 2 years. And he is as talented a player as we've seen come through this program ever. It's at a point where, like, I don't even know how to respond to it. This wasn't something that any of us were expecting. I'll tell you, when he came in over the weekend, there was a part of me that wanted it to happen. There was a part of me that believed it could happen. But for it to actually formulate and have everything come together, it's still surreal. Now, we're going to talk about everything that this means in just a moment. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I have been told that I'm a competitive person by my friends, my co-hosts, my family, and just about everybody I know. You think that's true? You're right. It is true. I got a competitive side, but we all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it because it's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. The best part is messing with your friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties just like in classic Monopoly, but now I can heist their vaults of riches for myself, and the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with your friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. Also want to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in, making us your first listen of the day. Shout out to you guys for being right on the news with me as I put this one out. Like I said, there will be another episode later on in the day that will recap the spring ball game from Friday. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. I am going to be planning some special stuff behind the scenes for you guys that you will see. It's going to be a very fun summer for us. So now's never been a better time to hit like, subscribe, follow, and turn on notifications. But let's wrap it up with what this means for Arizona State. And to me, it means one thing. Let me change that. It means 2 things. The first thing, and this is the thing that I thought of initially when I saw this, is Bobby Hurley is recruiting with his hair on fire. He clearly feels that there is an urgency to start getting the ball rolling and start turning this program around. People have been calling for his head. I myself have been skeptical, of what his future looks like for the program, whether or not he's the guy, whether or not it's time to move on and see what other avenues you can take. But This is one of those moves that you're like, okay, fine, pull me in. Like, I'm ready to get hurt again. That's what this move screams to me. But it also screams one more thing to me, and perhaps this is bigger. And the timing could not be more intriguing here. What's going on with the NIL? Is ASU starting to get that ball moving? Are we seeing the boosters start to really get invested in the program again? Because we've been hearing that boosters are frustrated, boosters are upset with everything that's going on following the NCAA punishments that were handed down to the football program for Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce and Ray Anderson and everybody else's not punishments for their roles, in what had happened during the COVID dead period. Was this event what it took to get people off the couch, get people invested, get people to really look at what's going on here and say, yeah, there's a chance that we can use this frustration and turn it into momentum? This has been, we've said it so many times to the point where it's like annoying to hear. Arizona State's a sleeping giant. But this is the kind of potential you have if you're able to get the Valley to back you up, if you're able to get everybody bought in to the program, get people bought into the university and say, hey, if we put the time, effort, and money into these sports teams, they're going to get better. Because this was one of the worst years for sports in recent memory for Sun Devils, at least the big sports. Bad football, bad basketball, bad baseball so far. Maybe they can get a late season push, but not looking good for them. It's just been rough all around. But for what it's worth, golf won the Pac-12 tournament. So now and forever, the Pac-12 champions. You had a great swim and dive team program. You had a great wrestling program. But the programs that people spend harder cash to go and see on a regular basis have not been up to par. Is this a sign of things to come? Is Jayden Quaintance going to be what really gets that momentum going and what really gets everybody else to buy in, literally and figuratively, into the program? I just don't know that ASU is able to pull off big name recruits like this when you're coming off one of the worst years in program history without having some kind of momentum. And that's not me saying that Quaintance got set like seven figures or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's clearly something that is getting Quaintance's attention, because he gets offers from Kentucky, from Louisville, from all around the country, and big name, big blood, or blue blood programs. It's not like he's lacking on places to go where he can compete. And yet, here he is committing to Arizona State. So I'm not saying he got a bunch of money. What I'm saying is clearly there is something he sees at this program and at this university that he's bought in. And if Jayden Quaintance is bought in, if the number 8 overall recruit in the country and a consensus 5-star player is bought into your program, maybe you should buy into. This is monumental. This is very, very much literally the highest rated recruit Arizona State has ever gotten for basketball. And it comes in a year that they absolutely kill it with recruiting. There's something going on with this basketball team, and it's something that I'm going to explore in a lot more detail. And I'm going to have to get some help from outside sources to talk about this. So wherever you get your podcast, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because we're going to be talking about it very soon. We'll keep you updated with all the big news that's going on. So again, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Follow me on Twitter to keep in the loop with everything at Richie Brads 36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, making us your first listen of the day, and a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Like I said, we'll be back again later in the day to recap the spring ball game. We will be back again tomorrow to continue talking about Jayden Quaintance, and we have a lot of other fun stuff planned behind the scenes for you guys. So I really hope to see you guys again soon. Till next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun.